Step right up, dummies, and listen. To the stupidest sports show on earth with Rodney Newpol and Tim Van Stratton. Well, hello, dummies, and welcome to episode number 45 of the stupidest sports show on earth. My name, as you all know, is Tim Smokin' Joe Van Stratton. With me is Rodney Newpol from his lovely living room, his mansion. He's cleaning up on Substack. He's making it rain. All the dollar bills. Rodney, good morning. Happy Friday to you.
Good morning to you as well. Final day of February. Thank the Lord it's finally here. March Madness starts tomorrow. We can sleep in May, according to John Rothstein. Celebrated this morning with let me ask you this. Celebrated this morning with my kids with a little Casey's breakfast pizza. First of all, a question for you. Being from the West Coast, but you've been here now 10 plus years. So you would consider yourself a Midwesterner now. But I'm assuming the answer is yes, but have you had Casey's breakfast pizza?
The answer is yes.
Okay.
I've had it twice, but both times were very recently, like within the last year and a half. Okay.
And question 2, thoughts on the Casey's breakfast pizza?
My thoughts are delicious.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah. So one of them was like the it's not really a supreme, but it was like some green peppers and onions. Mm-hmm. And then I had another one that was like sausage. Yeah. But both of them I enjoyed quite a bit. Like I got them in situations where I was out and about driving, like I had something to do in the morning and it was just there and I was hungry and I was like, you know what? Screw it. Like, let's try it out. It's not expensive. And as you know, like I famously don't like spending money on outside food. Sure. But in a pinch, it was delicious. So yeah. I do recommend.
So when I ordered it ahead of time last night, ordered it on the app, got sausage, and I was like, you know what? I'm a regular at Casey's. I get all my gas there. When I get my normal Mountain Dews, I get them there. So I've got all these Casey's points. I'm like, I got a few extra dollars of Casey's points. I added bacon, sausage, bacon, egg, cheese. I mean, that's like a dream for me, and it was fantastic this morning. It really hit the spot, and it celebrated the end of February. And yes, I highly recommend. If you've never had Casey's breakfast pizza, there you go. There's our ringing endorsement. Maybe Casey's will be our new sponsor. What do you think? Maybe
that'd be amazing. Are you kidding me? Do you imagine? You pull up to Casey's and then just on the window is just our ugly faces. Like, stupidest sports show. Watch our show. No, man, I would be so down for that. You kidding me? I would be the biggest Casey's fan in the world if they decided to sponsor us. But yeah, I had a good experience with the pizza. Now I just did a slice. I didn't get a whole damn pie, which it sounds like you did. Like you're pre-ordering these pizzas. Like you are going all out for these pizzas.
Yeah, well, I ordered it last night on the app. You can pick it up at whatever time. And, you know, my kids and I eat breakfast at almost the same time every morning. And, you know, and a lot of times it's, you guys just go pick up whatever you want. You know, they're 13, 11, and 8 now. They can get it themselves. But I was like, you know what? I think we'll just have a Casey's pizza. So set the time, you know, put it in. And I love that. Like if you put it for 6:30, it'll be ready at 6:30 on your app. You pay ahead of time. You walk right in, you pick it up, you walk right out. Anyways, no, it was a great pizza, and it's a good day to finish a month. That's for sure. So, anyways, plenty of sports going on. Tomorrow's the first day of March. A whole bunch of college basketball tomorrow. NBA's in full force. Your Lakers picked up a win last night. Sounded like that was an interesting game.
Steph
Curry went off. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Well, to your second point, yeah, Steph Curry, it's every now and then he'll do that. Not surprised. Good for Steph. The Warriors are having a real great push right now to get out of the play-in round. But I digress. Are you actually, so this is getting a little off topic here. Are you looking at the Warriors as a team that can make a run in the playoffs? Or are you like, yeah, I'd take many teams over them?
I mean, this is obvious, but Jimmy Butler makes a huge difference. I mean, he does. I know we hated him.
Yeah.
I know we bashed him, but now you have a second dude late in games. Steph Curry kind of needed that because like Draymond's not that guy. Clay wasn't really that guy the last couple years, and then of course they moved on from him. So like they're dangerous. My problem is I just don't know what the hell to think of the West. And we've discussed the West and the NBA a lot on this show, and I've went back and forth. I've listened to others that go back and forth. You know, I know you don't like old J Mac there from the Colin Cowherd show, but he loves the Lakers. He says the Lakers are the team to beat in the West. You know, you've got Oklahoma City, who is the best record, who will be the best record. But like, I don't know so much. So to answer your question, I just don't know what to think about the West. I would not be surprised if the Warriors went and upset a team or two in the playoffs. Do I think they can win 3 series? Probably not.
Yeah, I think saying that they're the best in the West might be a little bit rash. Now, I would be very curious to see if this was the full, like, if it was Luka Doncic for an entire season as opposed to having the last few games.
Yeah.
How did the Lakers look in the Western Conference? Like, chances are they are a comfortable 2 seed. Like, if this is them right now, and then it's a totally different conversation. But there are chemistry issues. Like Rui Hachimura left the game with an injury yesterday, and if Rui, who in their crunch time has been their small ball 5. Remember, they don't have a center, like not a real one, right? So
Right.
they go small, and Rui is sort of taking on that role. If he is injured and it's a significant thing for them, I mean, that is going to be a massive, massive loss for the Lakers. But like, yeah, there's a lot to like there. But in the Golden State perspective, it's so interesting because you have Golden State, Minnesota, Dallas, Sacramento, then the Clippers. So it's like those 5 teams that are all separated by 2 games. Chances are all of them are going to make at least the play-in.
Right.
But what the order is going to be, I got no idea.
Yeah.
There's so many variables there.
Yeah. Speaking of order, one thing in the NBA I wanted to do today is we've had some polls on our Stupidest Sports Show. You can follow us on Twitter at Stupid Sports Show, no W on the end. Let's get to one of them real quick. It kind of fits right into what we're talking about here. And I'll address this one to you. All right. Eastern Conference, moving from the west to the east here. And by the way, and we've both been high on the Denver. I'm flipping back and forth. We've both been high on the Denver Nuggets. Denver got beat last night by an Eastern team, which helps your Lakers in the potential seeding. It puts Denver just 1 game ahead of the Lakers. But anyways, we go back to the East. The first question on the poll, and right now, 100% of the voters have agreed to this one. I'm not so sure. The question is, who will get the final 10th seed in the East of the NBA? Right now, let's set the scene for you. Right now, it's the Chicago Bulls at 10. They are 23-36. That deserves a potential playoff game. The Brooklyn Nets sit a game and a half back. Philadelphia is 2.5 back, and we all know what a joke Philadelphia has been. And then you've got Toronto, who was horrendous and still is horrendous at 18-41, 5 games back. So the question on the poll was, who will get the final seed? And 100% of our voters have gone the Bulls. Are you going Bulls? I think I'm going Nets.
Oh, this is a disgusting topic to debate on a Friday morning show. Like, all of these teams are just terrible. They're terrible. And even if you want to lump in the Hawks, who have a comfortable 4-game lead on the Bulls, like the Hawks are 27-32. They also suck. Like, all these teams are so the Nets are in this and the Raptors are in this. Both of those teams are actively trying to not make the playoffs. They want to be in the Cooper Flag lottery discussion. They don't want to be in a play-in game with a chance to make the playoffs. Like, the Sixers and the Bulls are the only 2 that realistically want to actually like fight for a chance to get in the play-in round. So I'll say the Bulls, because I think the Nets can just like tank their own chances, whereas the Bulls, and as they've expressed multiple times, they really want to have an opportunity to make this play-in tournament. So it's not a question of who's the best team. It's a question to me of who wants it more. And the Bulls want it the most, more than any other team should ever want to be the 10 seed in the Eastern Conference, despite being 13 games under 500.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. And especially when you compare it to the West, where the Kings are the 10 seed and they're 30-28.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And the balance there is, and I'm not saying it's not fair because it's the same rules. We knew what the rules were, but the justice of the East to the West is quite different. You're going to get a team like Phoenix, who I know has really struggled, and they're 5 games under 500, but they're on the outside looking in. Whereas if they went over to the East at 27-32, they'd be comfortably tied with the Hawks and 4 games ahead of the Bulls. So yeah, big difference there. So I know you mentioned the Hawks at 27-32 sucking, but really Atlanta's only a game behind the Magic and Heat. So I mean,
yeah,
that's some bad basketball from Orlando, Miami, Atlanta, Chicago.
yeah.
The Nets. That's some bad basketball.
Yeah, and Orlando is a team that was in the top 4 in the East not too long ago, but I can't tell you the last time that they had Jalen Suggs, Paolo Banchero, Wendell Carter all on the court together. Like Franz Wagner. Like they have a lot of good players, but those players being available, like when Banchero was out for all those weeks, he came back and the Jalen Suggs went out. And those are the two hugely important players. So I'll give them a pass. Miami, I'm also going to give a pass just because of the whole Jimmy Butler drama, and it just totally nuked their season. But I don't think that talent-wise they're going to match up with any of the top teams in the East. They just don't have that star anymore. But Atlanta, same thing. Jalen Johnson got hurt. He's out for the year. They've had some injury issues as well. None of those teams inspire me, and I really don't care who ends up as the 7 seed. It's like they're all going to be in that play-in tournament,
right? And they're
the
all
order. It's not going to matter. Like Detroit right now has won 8 in a row. They're pulling away from everyone.
Yeah, and they're going to be somebody's going to be a 7 seed, somebody's going to be an 8 seed, and they're both going to get rolled by Cleveland and Boston. Just absolutely steamrolled. So, all right, we're spending too much time on that. Let's move to the second question here. Oh, yes, and you said it. Shout out Detroit Pistons. Winners of 8 in a row and only a game out of 4th in the East.
They ass whooped the Celtics the other night.
Yes.
I'll tell you, and I it's so easy to be like, oh, the Pistons, they're such a fluke. I mean, they got a lot of good players on that roster. They're young. Young, and JB Bickerstaff, who took over this year as the coach, Bickerstaff had a huge role in getting Cleveland sort of on the up and up the last couple years. So they seem like their future is in a really good spot right now. Let me ask you this. What's it next 5 years? Would you rather have the Pistons roster or the Pacers roster? And the Pacers have Halliburton and some other good pieces, but who would you rather take over for the next 5 years?
Probably Detroit. I feel like they're ascending more as Indiana is just kind of steady. I mean, Indiana's going to be good. Indiana's going to be steady. But I feel like
I don't.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, the Pacers, to me, I know who they are. I know who they're going to be. They're not a team to me that is going to improve. I mean, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year.
Yeah.
They're not going to do better than that.
I don't think we've seen the ceiling of Detroit yet.
No.
Yeah. All right, let's move to the next question. This has been our most popular of all the poll questions we've had so far. And not a surprise because of the NCAA tournament coming up. Should Drake at 26-3, 16-3 in the Valley be one of the 68 teams in the NCAA tournament? Now, on the poll question, I kind of termed it wrong because I said 68 at large. There are not 68 at large. I understand that. But so 76.5% of our voters have answered hell yes. 17.6 said probably yes. 5.9 said I don't think so. And not a single voter so far has said hell no. I know you're a Valley guy. We've talked about this before. In fact, we did it on the last show. Drake finds a way to win this weekend, finishes at 27-3, which would be 17-3 in the Valley. Even gets to the Valley Championship at 29-3, loses that game. 29-4, they should be in, right?
all bias aside, man, 29-4.
Yeah.
That's a damn good season.
Yeah. And you beat you beat all your non-conference teams.
Yeah. So, okay. So Drake this year, I'm just looking right now. So right now they are 59th in the net, right?
Yes.
So they are they had one quad one game. They won it. They had 4 quad 2 games. They won all 4 of them. So 5-0 against quad 1, quad 2. You're 20, what is it? 26-3?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is there to argue? What is there to debate?
Yeah.
You're not going to play the same schedule as a Big Ten team or the SEC because you're not in the Big Ten or the SEC. Like, okay, they can't help that, but they did a good job of scheduling tough opponents early on. They beat those opponents.
Yeah.
They have led the conference pretty much the entire way. What are we arguing about?
Yeah.
Who would get in over them? Like
we know
11th best Big Ten team.
Right. We know like in Indiana, like Cincinnati, there's a handful of teams obviously that are going to be bubble talk. And maybe Drake's not a bubble, but like every year we get the Missouri Valley leader and the Missouri Valley champion that is gonna battle. Now that's so I run into and Greg on the Twitter line here says Drake can't beat Northern Iowa 3 times in the season. So that's concerning because Northern Iowa and Drake could potentially, I know your Bradley Braves are going to be there as well, but could potentially play in the Missouri Valley Championship. That would suck if they fell in the championship and didn't make it. And so I guess I'm getting ahead of it here. I am also with the pollsters here at 76.5%. Yeah, hell yes, they should be in. To mention they have Missouri State this weekend, so they're going to be 27-3 going into the Valley tournament. Missouri State's 9-21 on the season. So yeah, I think we're in definitely agreement here, and I know this gets you fired up as a Valley guy.
It's dumb, and I would feel this way about any mid-major team that had the type of season and the resume that Drake has, and to have to be stressed out over the results of one game on a neutral court in a conference championship weekend where we see time and time again a lot of crazy stuff can happen, and that shouldn't outweigh your previous 30 games when those previous 30 games were impressive. And you mentioned like Cincinnati. Okay, Cincinnati's higher in the net, makes sense. They're at 47 right now. They're a Big 12 team, but like they're 1-9 in quad 1 games.
So the
newsflash: Cincinnati getting to the NCAA tournament, you're going to play teams that are pretty much guaranteed to be quad 1. So you're going to say go there, get their ass handed to them in the tournament, and be like, "Well, I'm glad we put them in over Drake." Come on, man.
Yeah. I'm looking at Cincinnati now, 17-11, have won back-to-back games. They've got at Houston on Saturday, so obviously they could make a huge statement there. But then their last 2 games, Kansas State and Oklahoma State, neither one very good. So Cincinnati's going to have a chance to grab 2 more wins. Now, neither one are going to be quad 1 wins, but that Houston win, if they could get it tomorrow at 3:30, would be a big one for them. But and that was just one of the teams. I mean, I know Indiana's another team out there that is a bubble team. They helped themselves with a win the other day.
Indiana right now, they're 2 ahead of Drake. They're at 57 in the net. They're 4-11 in quad 1, 4-0 in quad 2. And so like all their losses have come in those quad 1s, which makes sense. But I mean, that's it's just so gross to see these teams that just get obliterated against good teams. And that counts more than Drake being dominant against a slightly lesser schedule.
Now, one more thought. Indiana has at Washington, at Oregon. So, going out to the West Coast over these next 2 games, I know Washington's no good, but then they finish with Ohio State on Saturday. So, Indiana kind of got 3 games, and like that, they would not be great wins, although the Oregon win at Oregon would be. They would not be real good losses either. So, there's a bubble team we need to watch. All right, let's move to the baseball one, and I know we've spent some time talking baseball and win totals. But I wanted to put this on the poll for the Dodgers. Dodgers are the talk of MLB, obviously, with so many players. And I know you're
You
not.
wake me up all early, do a show, you throw 10 seed Eastern Conference talk and Dodgers baseball. Like you really know how to just charm me.
Will the Dodgers win more or less than 106 games in 2025? So 60% of our voters have said a few more. 40% of our voters said a couple less. Nobody said way more. Nobody said a ton less. 106, am I pretty close? I know we did the Pacoda. We've done the odds. 106 and 56. We going more or less? I'm going to ask you. What's your thoughts there?
All right. Can I do this without sounding like a hater? That's the goal. I'm going to try my best to do so because I'm an objective journalist. I'm a distinguished member of the media that prides myself in putting all biases aside and getting down to the facts. And the facts are this team will finish with less than 106 wins.
All right.
And really, and there's a legitimate explanation for it. And we see it every year with the Dodgers. And it cracks me up because everyone is going to look at the rotation on paper and say, is this the best starting rotation that we've ever seen? First of all, the answer is no.
No.
The 1990s Atlanta Braves would like to have a conversation. Hell, I'll even take Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, and Cole Hamels in the Phillies rotation over this one, to be honest with you. But I digress. When have we seen the Dodgers starting pitchers fully healthy? Have a complete season where the projected starters are all able to go out there and give you 30 plus starts? No issues. The answer is never.
Yeah.
The answer is never. Never. Yamamoto missed time last year. Blake Snell is someone who I wouldn't necessarily has a huge injury risk, but like he does not go deep into games.
5 innings.
He's a 5-inning, 6-inning guy. He doesn't pitch into the 7th inning. That's just right. Rookie Suzuki's going to be a rookie. I'm not expecting 200 plus innings out of him, to put it lightly. You also have Ohtani, who's had 2 major elbow injuries. Then if he starts, it's not going to be a once every 5-day type of situation. So you have all these great talented arms, but all of them have these question marks. And when a couple of them get hurt, it's going to test their depth. We saw it happen last year. And that is going to make some differences for them. And also, if you look at the offense, the offense on paper, again, looks really good. But I don't expect Ohtani to have another 50-50 season, especially if he is going to be pitching as well, because that is like having the additional burden of pitching and all that is going to affect what he does hitting-wise. He might be stealing less if he has to worry about pitching every 6th day. So it's all of these little things. Plus, they're going to move Mookie Betts again to the infield full time. They're going to win the division. They're going to be very good. 100 wins, but 106 is a lot. And a lot of things have to go right, as always, in order for that to happen. So I'll put them at 103, 104.
Yeah, a couple.
So
less.
not a ton less. I'm not saying that this team's going to win 92 games, but just the starting pitching questions again, because I don't think that the rotation as it's constructed is going to be able to last a full season to get them to that mark.
I'm with the 40% as well, a couple less. I just the variance of baseball, they'll have a struggle at some point in the season where they lose a few in a row. Obviously, they'll go on a couple win streaks, long win streaks, but winning 100 games for any of these good teams is still difficult to do. Winning 106 seems awfully tough of a task. I will take a couple less.
A lot of wins. That's a lot of wins.
Yeah, there's just a lot of things that you still got to have the back end of your bullpen be strong. And obviously, unless you're slugging 10 runs a game, which they might and they will at times. I just think baseball's too variant. There's too much variance. There's too much. You never know. Somebody beats them 2 out of 3 a couple times that you didn't quite expect, and here we are at 103 and 59, and there's our answer. A couple less. I think we're both right around the same track. We're looking 100 to 105, probably about their level.
Which isn't us hating. That's saying that a
No.
team is still going to win 100 games, but 106 is a lot.
Really,
That's
yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. Fourth question, and this is so yeah, we're going way back and forth here. Fourth question here, because there is a Palm Beach has a Cognizant shoe open. I don't know, it's something like that.
Nailed it.
Somebody shot a 59 yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, Jake Knapp.
Jake Knapp, yeah. But my question is,
Jake Knapp was he's a Orange County, California guy. He was actually sponsored by the Anaheim Ducks and had the Ducks logo on his polo the last couple seasons. So that's my guy.
So basically, he lives on this course that he's playing on. I mean, right? Pebble Beach. That's not very far away, right?
PGA National Members Club. Yeah, where is it? Well, Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. So,
no, they're
yes,
in Florida. I was
away.
thinking Palm Desert. Yeah. I was thinking it was Palm Desert. Yeah, good call. Palm Beach, Florida. Oh, yeah. So they're in the Florida portion of it. But they just left Pebble Beach. Okay, so that makes sense. All right, moving on. So the question I had, though, is do you watch the PGA Tour outside the major tournaments? We have 50%.
You know you don't.
25% says not much. 25% says no, never. Nobody says yeah a lot. I mean, and not that it matters because these guys are obviously getting paid. The majors are doing well, but do we have too many tournaments in the PGA Tour? Are there too many tournaments playing every weekend? Go ahead.
Do we have too many tournaments? Like, are you saying is the season too long?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that they have shortened it up a little bit because remember they used to finish up the season in September with the FedEx Cup Championship, and then a week or two later it would just be tournaments. They're gonna be like, wait a minute, why are we playing golf? I'll say this: I don't acknowledge golf until probably. I would say the first tournament that I really start to lock in on is Waste Management in Phoenix. That's Super Bowl week, just because I love that tournament and just the stadium and all that. So, and that's early February.
Yeah.
So, to answer your question, I do watch the PGA Tour outside of the major tournaments. I don't watch every week. I kind of pick and choose because there are tournaments that some of those featured events that have a great field that are at a distinguishable course, and I'll watch and I'll enjoy it. I'm not going to watch all 4 days like I would the Masters and just revolve my schedule around it and obsess over it. But yeah, I'll watch. I'll throw it on a little bit in the background, and then on Sunday, if I see that the leaderboard is competitive, yeah, I'll throw it on. I've done that a couple Sundays already this season. But again, it depends. It depends on it really depends on the field. I've said that I actively root for the big names to win these golf tournaments. I do not like seeing no-name guys, underdogs come out of nowhere and win. I want to see Jordan Spieth win a tournament. I want to see like I don't know, just name a Rory McIlroy. I want to see those guys win. So if they're in it, I'll be more interested in it.
We are about 6 weeks away from the Masters. Let's talk about that real quick. Scotty Scheffler plus 470. Is that worth your bet at plus 470? Rory's at 8. Rory's at 8-1, and Adberg is 12-1. Thoughts there on those three guys?
Ludwig Aberg. Yeah, there were a lot of people last year that were saying, and the odds have changed since then, but he was a popular pick as a futures bet late last year just from his form. He's very good. I would not bet Scotty Scheffler. One, just because repeating is hard, and two, just the odds. I don't think the value is there right now, and nor do I think that he is playing dominantly enough to warrant it. Kind of like how he was at the beginning of last season, where it was just he went on a ridiculous run where he won 3 times in 4 weeks or whatever it was. Now, if he gets to that point leading up to Augusta, I'll have a different opinion, but I want to see how the season develops a little more, see how these guys round into form. We also have to look at the live guys too. Who's the highest live guy that's listed on the odds?
Yeah, Bryson's at 22-1. John Rahm is at 13-1. So Rahm at 13-1.
Am
We
I the
don't
only
see a
one
lot of
who
him.
like? I feel like John Rahm has totally disappeared from the golf world
Yeah, I mean he's
since
fifth in these
joining.
odds, but yeah, we never see him anymore. Correct.
Yeah, but I see Bryson all the time. Like
Yeah.
Bryson, his presence is known. I know that Bryson is still doing his thing. I feel like I never hear anything about John Rahm, and I have no idea what he's doing at Live. I have no idea what the tournaments are like. Nothing, nothing. I have a pretty good golf algorithm right now on social media. I got no clue what John Rahm is up to, which is
Yeah.
sad because John Rahm was like a top 5 golfer in the world when he left.
Yeah, and I think he still is. I don't know if it's just one of those things where we're just not seeing much of him. He's not playing as much. He's at Live now, so he's taking the time off more.
Which are they going to merge now? It sounds like they're about to merge here
Yeah. Are
after
you
all this.
surprised? Are you surprised?
No,
No.
no, of course not. Of course not. But
I
it's
mean,
like
yeah.
you have Tiger Woods meeting with Jay Monahan and the Saudi president at the White House. I'm like, oh what is happening here?
I mean, yeah, we knew this was inevitable to have you're not going to have two leagues forever here. But yeah, so that was question number 4. Let's move to question number 5, and then we can kind of open it up. I know you have a topic you want to talk about real quick. We are going kind of all over the place here, but I want to touch on each of the sports. Last question: who will finish as the worst team in the NHL regular season? I think we put this one out there because we both love to pick fun at the generational Chicago Blackhawks. But so as of right now, 20% say the San Jose Sharks. 80% are going Chicago Blackhawks. Nobody's going Predators or Sabres. Let me set it up for you real quick. Sharks, 39 points. Blackhawks, 41. Predators way up at 49. Sabres at 53. So really this question probably should be just Sharks, Blackhawks. Who finishes as the worst? San Jose Sharks, Chicago Blackhawks.
So what's their difference right now in points, and how many
2
games have they each played?
2 points. Sharks have played one more.
One more, but
Yes.
they have 2 fewer points.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, this is a good question, man. It's like the Sharks got off to such a horrendous start, and I think that really hurt them. You know what? I'll say the Blackhawks finished the worst because I think the Blackhawks are actively going to sell because they have some veterans to sell off, whereas the Sharks really don't. It's not like the Sharks have a bunch of old guys that they need to get assets for. They're just going to keep continuing with their young guys. But Blackhawks could trade Seth Jones, could trade who is it, Nick Foligno, a couple other guys. Man, they stink. Look, man. If you're gonna try to sell me on having this generational McDavid-esque talent coming to your team, man, like you gotta be better. And I feel like everyone just makes so many excuses for him. It's like, oh well, we haven't quite seen the sophomore breakout that we thought we were, but it's because he doesn't have the line mates for it. Well, like, you shouldn't have advertised him as being this Crosby McDavid level star and then make all these excuses for why he's like hasn't been amazing and why the team is still getting run over.
Yeah. Blackhawks have lost 5 in a row, and they are 1-7 in the month of February. They gave up 7 goals last night, including 5 in the first period in Vegas. That's the 4th time in the last 5 they've given up 5 or more goals. They can't play any defense.
No, and listen, I've rooted for a hockey team that has been in a very similar situation that's gone through a painful rebuild that has a lot of young guys, and there are significant growing pains. I think no one expected them to be a playoff team, but I think people, considering the additions they made in the offseason, like they had an active offseason. They signed guys. They handed some contracts over because the whole idea was, hey, we want to surround Connor Bedard with veterans and give him talent. And the results are, I don't know where they finished last year, but they're pretty much like on par or even worse.
Yeah,
that should be the case. That's a problem because they were trying to be better. They were trying to make a jump this year, and they weren't.
Blackhawks have one more road game at your Ducks on tomorrow before they come back home for 3 against the Kings, Senators, and Utah. Anyway, so yeah, I'm agreeing here. I'm going to go Chicago Blackhawks. I'm agreeing with you and our 80% of our voters. Let's go over a couple others just real briefly that were on here. There's 1 day left in the will anybody in the National League win the MVP outside of Soto or Tatis or Otani? Otani, Soto, Tatis. Will anybody else win it? 36.4 definitely think so. So who are we thinking there? Otani, Soto, Tatis. Who's going to win the MVP if it's not those three guys?
All right. So there's Acuna, but I don't know if Acuna plays a full season,
right?
Or has the numbers that would when he does play. Like he can do it. He has the talent to do it. He has done it. But that is one. Would Bryce Harper still have a season that puts him in that mix?
Yeah, I mean he's obviously probably one of those candidates. I guess.
So I'm just trying to name anyone that right now could be in the conversation. So it's those two. Kyle Tucker, if he just comes to Wrigley and explodes and he leads the Cubs to 93 wins and a division title.
Yeah. 17-1. Kyle Tucker 17-1, by the way, to win the National League MVP. So if you are one of those Cub lovers that blindly bets, there you go. Kyle Tucker's your guy at 17-1. So yeah, I mean, I guess there are some names: Harper, Acuna, Tucker, some names there that you can see happening. But for me, it's hard pressed to not see one of those big three, like Otani, Soto, Tatis. Like those three guys are to me head and shoulders above. So I thought that was interesting because 36.4 said definitely think so. 18.2 said hell no. So basically saying it'll be one of those three guys.
So anyway. Who's the favorite right now? Is it Otani? I would assume
it's Otani. Yeah, it's Otani, Soto, Tatis in that order. I believe Tucker's fifth. I don't even know if Harper's in that top five. I think Acuna.
I don't think he would be. Yeah. Can I throw something else at you without sounding like a total hater? Again, I'm going to try.
Yeah.
Did Otani deserve to win the MVP last year after having a 50-50 season? Yes. Yeah. But also, can we acknowledge that the Dodgers, if they didn't have Shohei Otani, would be totally fine?
Yeah. Yeah. Still win the West.
Comfortably.
Do they win the World Series? That's a good chance.
Well, that's the thing too. There was a World Series where Shohei Otani did nothing for them.
Nothing.
He was probably their least relevant hitter that series because of the injury.
Yeah, and everybody will argue his presence in the lineup, and there is some merit to that. But like,
yeah. But I don't like that. But that's the thing with value to me, and we lose sight of that a little bit. And it's what we were talking about on Tuesday with Jokic in the NBA. If Nikola Jokic is removed from the Denver Nuggets, that team is in the like Portland, Charlotte range and is talking about Cooper Flag. If Shohei Otani hurts his elbow today in spring training and he's going to require season-ending surgery and he's done, the Dodgers will win 97 games.
Yeah,
they'll be okay. So like we have to keep that in mind a little bit when it comes to value, which is why I think Kyle Tucker, honestly, and I don't like saying this, Kyle Tucker is a good value.
Yeah.
A good value if he takes a Cubs team that has been 82, 83 wins and he gets them up to 90 plus, has a great season. He's a great player in a contract season, so there's going to be that incentive for him.
17-1. Throw $10
down. That's a good value to me.
Yeah. All right, so I wanted to get to your topic now because you say you know who's going to win the NBA Finals. Okay, so you woke up this morning. So let's kind of set the scene here. You woke up this morning. Was it something like you're like, hey, it's over. The NBA Finals is over. I know who's going to win the NBA Finals. How did this occur? I mean, take us through this real quick.
Okay. So there are a few metrics. And I'm going to get apologies if this gets too nerdy for the Stupidest Sports Show. Please stop me. Okay?
Yeah, because that's our number one rule, no nerds allowed.
Correct.
That's been on.
So there are massive historical precedents in the NBA that show us the types of teams that win, and more so than any other league, more so than the NFL and MLB, especially NHL, the NBA shows you that the teams that are good in the regular season, really, really, really good, overwhelmingly are going to be in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Overwhelmingly going to win. I'll give you some reasons why, okay? So, since 1981, let's call it that. So this is what, 40 plus years?
Yeah, 41 years. 44
There
years.
have been only 4 teams, 4 champions in 43 years who weren't in the top 10 in defense, right? So, additionally, almost every single champion was top 5 in offense, defense, or both. There's only been 4 teams that weren't top 5 in offense or defense in that same span. So, right off the bat, you look at who's the top offensive teams. Cleveland, Denver, Knicks, Celtics, Thunder. Okay, good. Easy. You got Cavs, you got Celtics, Thunder. Defense, the Thunder are number 1. The Celtics are number 5. Cleveland's number 6. I can take that. Okay, good. Those teams pass the test. This is another example, and this comes with the evolution of the three-point shot. In the last 15 years, there's only been one team, one champion that didn't finish in the top 5 in true shooting percentage. Logically, if you hit shots, if you are a good team that can hit 2-pointers, that can hit 3-pointers, you're going to be in great shape. The only team that wasn't in the top 5 is the bubble Lakers in 2020. Understandable, just given the circumstances of everything, right? Top 5 in true shooting percentage. Cleveland, number 1. Denver, number 2. Knicks, number 3. Phoenix, number 4. And they're tied with Indiana. The Celtics are 7th. OKC is 10th right now. And I'm going to throw one more thing at you. You're familiar, as I'm sure a lot of our listeners are, with the 40-20 rule. I think this was what Phil Jackson had talked about. For those that don't know, NBA champions, 90% of the champs, since we expanded to 16 playoff teams in each conference, 90% of champs have passed the 40-20 test, which means you reach 40 wins before 20 losses. Only 3 teams this season will have successfully reached 40-20. The Cavs are 48-10. The Celtics are 42-17. The Thunder are 47-11. A couple teams are close. Memphis was 38 wins, but they just got their 20th loss. The Knicks also at 38-20. And then you have the Denver, who's 38-21. So a couple of those teams are close, fringe. But if you add everything together, okay, based on stats the last 40 plus years of NBA history, there's one team that meets all these requirements. That elite true shooting percentage, top 5 in offense, defense, or both, and meets the 40-20 rule. It's the Cleveland Cavaliers.
You've been super high on Cleveland. You've been super high on Cleveland, and I mean this is nerding it out right here. Like this, I tweeted it like you're towing the line on no nerds allowed here, but I mean you make sense here. I mean they've been the best team all year. They've got the numbers here. Okay, so let me just ask you this. We get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and Boston's playing Cleveland. You're going Cleveland.
Cleveland will have home court advantage.
Yeah.
I will take Cleveland. Because and I'll do that because and this is a factor that a lot of people don't consider as well. Boston has played a lot of basketball the last couple of years.
Yeah.
A lot of basketball, and those long runs, they'll get to you. And Boston, they got some, like Jason Tatum's not an old guy by any means, but they got some veterans on that team. They got some veterans, Drew Holiday and Derek White and Porzingis and Al Horford. Like, they have some tired legs. Cleveland's a younger team. They don't have as much mileage on them. They're going to have home court advantage. They're 27-4 at home this year. And when they've played Boston in the regular season, it hasn't been like the Knicks, where the Knicks just get totally ran off the floor whenever they face a good team. Cleveland has beaten Boston. Boston's beaten them. It has been a series that shows it's going to be 6-7 games in the playoffs. So I'll take Cleveland. And then if Cleveland matches up against whoever in the Western Conference, let's say OKC, I think Cleveland is just more playoff experienced and tested there. Their coach is more playoff experience compared to who is it? Daniel for OKC.
Yeah. So we'll get an answer roughly about episode 70, probably somewhere around there. We'll get our answer. But I'll keep this on the memory bank, because if I'm going Cleveland, Boston, I'm taking the experience, and I'm taking Boston.
Which is understandable, and they'll be favorites. Boston will be the favorite.
Yeah, they will. Yeah. They're 24-7 on the road, so it's not like they're cupcake on the road. They've got the best road record, or second best road record. Cleveland, 21-6 on the road, is even better on the road. But okay, so you know who wins the NBA Finals? We're going to come back to this one. Those are some good nerd numbers.
Let me just imagine this too, and this is in the conspiracy of if you think the NBA wants sort of a series to happen. I don't know if necessarily that's the case, but just imagine the Cleveland Cavaliers make the NBA Finals to face LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers.
Oh. I mean, yeah.
You want to talk about the league being back?
No.
It's back, my friend. It's back.
That's something else, because you know the conspiracy talk is going to be wild. It's going to be absolutely wild. Because of this has been a year where we've seen a lot of the hating media. Oh, the NBA ratings are tanking. The NBA is a dying product. The NBA sucks. Now we have Cleveland against LeBron, and potentially, we've said this several times, but potentially LeBron's final chance at a title. Oh boy. I'm here for it, though.
Yeah. Oh, it believe me, it would be epic. And there are a couple wild cards in this. Like the Lakers, to me, are such a huge wild card because the Lakers aren't going to hit any of these metrics. They're not going to finish as a top 5 defensive team. They're not going to finish top 5 offense, most likely, just because the team that they started with is so different than the team they have now. The other thing, and this is going to be something that we're going to evaluate right as the playoffs start. And I was listening to Bill Simmons, and he had brought this up. So every year for the last however many years now, there's always a team that from the All-Star break on has a really impressive record where they may not have been considered that title contender, but then the last 2 months of the season, they play really, really well. They're able to use that as momentum, go on a run. We saw it with Dallas last year. Yeah. The Mavericks were the 5 seed going into the playoffs, but Dallas had a really great 2 months before the playoffs, went all the way to the NBA Finals. And we've seen it with the Boston team from a couple years ago that made the finals against Golden State. We saw it with Portland too. When Portland made the Western Conference Finals, I think 5 years ago, that was another similar situation. So there's always going to be one. Could it be the Lakers? Maybe. But just keep an eye on it, and we'll look to see. So, like, right as the playoffs are about to start, the best records from All-Star break until then, and there's going to be a surprise team. And if you're looking for sort of that X factor who's like, oh, maybe they're going to be a conference finalist and no one's really talking about it, that's how we'll know.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, we'll come back to this one again somewhere around episode 70 and see where we're at here.
See, that's how you do a show, man. You don't talk about who's going to be the 10th seed in the East. Come on.
I mean, it was fun, though. It was fun. We got two. So listen, we got 2 opportunities today in 50 minutes to bash on Chicago professional sports.
Yeah, which is great. Which is great. Yeah. No, they deserve it. And also the White Sox are the only team that doesn't have a win in spring training yet.
I mean, yeah. And like, I would say, who cares about spring training wins? But they won like 8 games last year. So yeah, it's funny. It's funny because how historically bad they were this year, and then coming into spring, and like in the spring, you're literally playing against like AA guys for most of you. You can't tell me that you can't put some of your top dudes on the field one time during the week and win one of these games. Yeah. Chicago White Sox.
And they're getting
Terrible.
crushed too. Like it's not like,
Yeah.
oh, they lost 2-1. Like they gave up like 13 runs the other day.
Nolan Arenado hit his first home run of the spring yesterday.
I saw that. I saw a graphic that said Nolan Arenado, his year-over-year bat speed has improved more than any other hitter in spring training. He's swinging the bat harder than ever before. Is it?
Yeah, I mean,
is it? You know what? I'm gonna do everything I can to help my Cardinals win, or is it? Please, someone take interest in me. I want to leave here.
Yeah, I love that you drafted him in our league because I kind of wanted him.
I know you did.
Kind of was like, well, and I had opportunities and passed up. I just was like, I can't quite do this. But I love that he's going to have a lot of motivation because I feel like the last year or two, maybe he's needed that. Like he's just kind of been blasé for the most part. And you know my love for Nolan Arenado. I mean, how many days in a row did I tweet about Nolan Arenado being the St. Louis Cardinal? And he still is a St. Louis Cardinal. But I need him to be and make Nolan Arenado great again. Maybe we'll see. But he did hit his first home run, and he went from Jupiter, Florida to Tampa, Florida, just to play the Yankees. Got to see his old buddy Paul Goldschmidt the other day. Maybe he's motivated. Anyways, let's wrap it up with the best 45s in sports, shall we?
Well, hold on, just real quick. It doesn't have to be a whole thing. Yeah. I know you're famously against hair, like just hair on the face. Like you're not a beard guy, you're not a hair guy. But like, so what were your thoughts on this Yankee facial hair rule? We didn't talk about that because that happened last Friday when you were in Mexico. Are you pro? Do you wish that they kept the beard rule, or are you glad that they got rid of it? Like I looked at Paul Goldschmidt, his shaven face, and I was like, he's someone that needs something there.
No, the rule should have been eliminated about 50 years ago. Right? Like
when it started.
Let's just come with the times. Like I don't want all the hair on me. But I don't care if they have the hair. Like I think it's the silliest thing that the Yankees were banning them from doing this for the longest time. Like, really? Like, I mean, we talk about all these inequalities, and I know this isn't the same as some of the major inequalities of our life these days. But like, really, Yankees? Like, who are we to say what kind of facial hair you can have? Yeah, I would have gotten rid of this 50 years ago. And again, not a hair guy. But yeah, Paul Goldschmidt is a guy that could probably use some facial hair. Anthony Rizzo probably. And I don't know, is Rizzo currently on the active roster?
He's not. He's a free agent right now.
Yeah. And I know he's mulling retirement.
Yeah, he's a free agent. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe he's the type that like comes in like June or July and helps the team out, but like his days are numbered. But anyways, yeah, get rid of the rule. Good work, Yankees. Finally, in 2025, it should have been eliminated in the 70s.
I kind of miss the rule, if I'm being honest with you. It was stupid, but it was like they're stupid. Like it was charming. I don't know, but honestly, I tell you the reason that it happened. It's because they looked at Devin Williams' pouty face when he was forced to shave. And they met with him, and he was like, oh, yeah, this actually does matter to me. It matters to other players. And, like, it sounds stupid, but there are players who are like, I don't want to go to a team that makes me shave my face when there's 29 other teams that are like, yeah, we don't give a shit. So it hurts them in free agency. It does. Like, Vlad Guerrero Jr. now suddenly is like, oh, okay. Yeah. I'm open to the Bronx. That's it. Yeah, that's all it comes down to.
But what we've said this, people have said this for years. Like, guys, like, what are we doing here? I did see that rule was in place there when I was coming back from Mexico, but I wholeheartedly agree it was time.
All right, let's do our 45s in sports. Another one so we had 44. We put together a Mount Rushmore. 3 of the 4 names were baseball.
Yep.
I'm looking at 45s right now, and there's a chance that we might have the same thing happen again. Well, at least two. Or two baseball for sure. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I do. One of them's Bob Gibson. Bob Gibson would be 45. My top choice of a 45. Bob Gibson, tremendous, and of course, a St. Louis Cardinal. And the other would be Pedro Martinez at 45. So those two we can put right on the list. Let me just say right now, Michael Jordan's 22 games wearing number 45 is not going to qualify him for this one.
What? It's great. Well, listen. In terms of that player being known for 45, I agree. He's famously known for 23. That said, his 45 is probably the highest selling 45 jersey in all of sports. More than Pedro Martinez, more than Bob Gibson, more than anyone else. Just from those 20-something games that he had in, 1995?
But have we put any, and I guess we're talking a whole nother level here with Michael Jordan, but have we put has anybody else been on Mount Rushmores though?
I bet LeBron would be if we did 6 and 23.
Right. You're right.
And Kobe would be for 8 and 24.
Yeah, we didn't do 8. So all right.
But LeBron and Kobe each spent multiple years in other jersey numbers.
Yeah.
And won championships. LeBron has championships in both numbers. Kobe has championships in both numbers. Michael had 20-something games in 45 and got bounced in the second round.
Yeah. Other opportunities. Rudy Tomjanovich was 45. Pretty good player and a decent head coach.
I can give you a good NBA one here, an active guy, which we don't have a lot of active guys on these lists. How about Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah, real good player. Continue and kind of one of those under talked about players, obviously leading his, Cavaliers, who are the favorites to win the NBA finals. Apparently, Sean Bradley was also number 45.
He was
really, for me, Sean Bradley was like one of the first, like, whoa, you are way too tall type players, right? Like
that can't be healthy.
Yeah. I mean, we had like the Minute Bowl, and then we've continued like the Taco Fall recently and things like that. But like you're too tall. Sean Bradley was a 45, and
so
not a great basketball player, but was in the league.
No, but he had a career. He had a career. He was around. I'm all right. So I'm looking at the hockey list, and I don't really see anyone that is worth mentioning in the 45s. Okay. Apologies to hockey guy Dan if he's watching. Basketball, yeah, you mentioned a couple. I think Donovan Mitchell, though, is probably my pick here as the best 45. Would you agree?
So Pedro Martinez, Bob Gibson, Michael Jordan.
No. Well, okay. So I have a couple more baseball candidates for you.
Okay.
What would you say about Garrett Cole?
Pretty good. Pretty good. We could make this a pitchers only Mount Rushmore.
It could be, because then you also have not as experienced, but Zach Wheeler, one of the best pitchers in the National League. He's also 45. Yeah. He's been wearing it for a decade now.
Yeah. So we could just say that, listen, 45 is a pitchers only Mount Rushmore. And those four guys, you put those four guys in a rotation, and not very many people are beating you ever.
No. And I'm just trying to see if there's any other really good 45s that were there. So Tug McGraw was 45, wore it for 19 seasons, a little bit before our times. Aroldis Chapman was, but only for a couple of years. Do you remember Eric Bedard from Baltimore, Seattle, traded for Adam Jones?
Wore glasses, right? Did he wear glasses? No, that was Gagne. Eric Gagne. I feel like Bedard may have as well. Bedard was left-handed, though, right?
He was, yeah. Carl Pavano also was number 45. Yeah, this is 45. I think you're right on, man. I'm declaring it. This is a pitchers only Mount Rushmore. Mm-hmm. And we're going to do Bob Gibson, Pedro Martinez, Garrett Cole, Zach Wheeler. What say you?
Yeah, because again, that rotation is not getting beat anytime soon.
Who needs lefties? Who needs lefties when you have those four?
Yeah, we'll go back, and then you could use Pavano and a couple of those other guys out of the bullpen. Who'd you mention? Bedard. You could use those guys out of the bullpen.
Yeah, Eric Bedard could be your lefty. Yeah, he could be your lefty, who's your spot starter.
Yeah, no, I like that rotation. Give us any type of bats, and we're in good shape. Archie Griffin in the NFL or college football was 45 as well. Not a lot of NFL.
Yeah, the NFL list was a lot of old guys. It was so based on value, right? According to Pro Football Reference, the top ones: Dave Grayson, Gary Fenchick, Ed Sherrickman, Kenny Easley. I know Kenny Easley. Curtis Johnson, Homer Jones. Devin White would be the most recent one, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers linebacker.
Yeah, I know him.
I put you guys on Mount Rushmore. Not when I have Pedro Martinez and Bob Gibson there. You're not sharing a Mount Rushmore with those guys.
No. There it is. That was 45. I can say, okay, I know a 46, but I can say 46 is going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah, 46 might require some more research than we normally do, which is a tough ask.
Literally pulling it up as we're talking about it. Very nice. Very nice.
You know, man. At least we have it up, and we're not just going to ranker.com like we were when we first started doing this.
That's a good point. That is a good point. Yeah, so
computers this is crashing, all for wrong information. Yeah,
viruses all over. So this is the final show and final day of February. I did want to mention my Substack for the month of February because it is time to move on to that point. Substack for February. So I lost a little bit yesterday, but let me pull this up real quick. I can pull it up right.
Process over results.
Yeah, I agree. In the month of February, 184, 159, and 1. So 10.69 units ahead. That's a little bit less than my 16 units I made in January. On the year, I'm 332 and 298. Have done the Substack 58 straight days. Today will be 59. It's almost done. It's sitting in my drafts right now to finish up. And it's a good opportunity to sign up. Tell your friends about it. Get them to sign up. It is free. Go up to Substack, find the Stupid Sports Show there, and you'll get our picks, my picks, every day in your mailbox. And then with college basketball coming up, I can promise you there will be plenty of those picks in there.
Are you going to do? I apologize if I'm putting you on the spot here. So once the NCAA tournament starts, how are you going to handle that? Are you going to do a pick for every single game?
I would assume, yeah.
Because I know you bet every single game, but are you going to list them on the Substack?
I think so. So yes. So in saying that, there are times where like I will do the Substack at 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning, and then I've had this, and then so like something may change, or I may get a different change of heart, and before the game when I actually place my real bet, maybe it'll be a half-point difference, and I'll go the other way. So it becomes a little bit tricky with the tracking purposes, and I know that's not the most scientific way of betting on sports, but every once in a while there may be a different one. But yes, I 100% will. I probably bet on every game of the NCAA tournament for almost 10 years now, where just and a couple times I've done both spread and total. Now, don't get me wrong. It's been very small units, but it's fun, man. It's fun. And it gives me tracking, gives me ideas. But yeah, I will have those in our Substack. I mean, I'll probably go like 32 and 32 in the first round, and that's being generous. But yeah, so follow us on Substack.
If you just take every underdog's money line and we get a situation like we got last year, you're going to clean up.
Yeah. And I think there's an opportunity for that this year. There's some really good teams, and then there's some teams that are going to be a little bit overvalued there in the middle. And you're going to get teams like Drake or Bradley and some of those guys that are going to beat them up. So it's going to be fun. Love the tournament. And we are tomorrow's first day of March, 2 weeks away from Selection Sunday.
And also baseball season starts in 18 days, 19 days.
Yeah, I mean, the international series is right there during that. Our teams, Cardinals at least, and Angels are more like the 28th of March. But we're a month away from there. So yes, here it comes.
I'm excited. You can tell by my face. I'm just ready to go, ready to talk baseball. Watch the 103 win Dodgers fail to meet expectations. Those
Jokers, GCDs.
All right. Well, as Brady mentioned, sign up for the Stupid Sports Show on Substack. Give us a follow at Stupid Sports Show, no W on Twitter. And in case you miss any of the show, whether it was today or our previous 44 shows, check us out on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, wherever you get your podcasts. And you, going back to the very beginning of the show, you put the idea of a Casey's breakfast pizza in my head, and now I want nothing more than just to get a slice of that. Ever since you mentioned it, that's all I want. It's the only thing that will satisfy me before I get started with my day here.
Yeah, but are you a mid-morning eater? Like, is 9 o'clock still okay to start eating some breakfast? Because I'm an early lunch guy. Like, I'm going to have lunch here 11:30. So, go ahead.
I ever since I started working from home, I usually don't eat lunch until like 2 p.m. at minimum. I'm a late lunch guy, so I'm totally fine with a 9 a.m. breakfast.
Yeah, so like I'm like, okay, we're gonna eat breakfast 6:30, 7 o'clock because that's what time we get up. I got kids going to school. Lunch is more like 11:30, and then dinner or supper, whatever everybody wants to call it, fluctuates because depending on evening plans. But like I don't know as if I want a Casey's pizza at 9:30 in the morning because I'm gonna have lunch here in a little bit. I don't want to ruin my lunch appetite. But anyways, one more thing, because I know you went last time. Tonight, part 3, Metamora Morton boys basketball regional championship at Dunlap.
No,
at Dunlap.
I'm not driving to Dunlap. Not driving to Dunlap.
Nope. No, but people are, and it will be very full again. Round 3 tonight. So shout out both the Metamora Redbirds and Morton Potters. Big basketball game tonight. 2 of the top 5 teams in 3A state getting after it for a chance to move to the sectional. There you go.
So this is a playoff. It's a playoff. This is it.
Regional championship. So they go to and then in Illinois, Tim, we go from regionals to sectionals. There's one game in super sectionals, and then you move to the Final Four, which is the state tournament. So this would essentially be the round. This is still a round of 64, but the inequalities, I don't know if that's the right word, the inconsistencies of the IHSA allows 2 teams, both in the top 5, to play in the round of 64. So that's where we're at, because they do it geographically. They do it, local teams. They call it a regional. It's your region. 2 of the top 5 teams in the state one of them will be eliminated tonight. There you have it.
I don't like nobody that. But I also like it. Yeah.
Yes. And it's for me, like it's what I've been accustomed to for 42 years. It's ours. It's our tournament. But yeah, like it sucks that, one of the top teams in the state is going to get eliminated tonight. Metamora, who recently has won a state championship, both teams have 27 plus wins. So going to be wild. I'll be there tonight. I'll keep you updated.
Yes, provide a live stream. That would be helpful.
Yeah.
But here's the good news, too. Whoever comes out of this night alive wins, chances are you're going to be feeling pretty good about yourself moving forward, because you just took out maybe the toughest opponent that you're going to see all the way up until the Final Four. It's state championships.
And the next round next week is in Washington, not very far away. So either winner
drive to Washington.
Tonight, Morton or Metamora won't have a very far drive over to Washington. So good luck to both teams, and I'll see everybody there.
Good luck. Find Rodney. Get his autograph. Get a picture with him. He's very receptive. He loves when fans come up to him. Just make sure that he's watching the game before you interrupt him to get your photo opportunities and what have you. But for Rodney, this is Tim Smoke and Joe Van Stratton. Thanks to everyone, all 265 of you who got up early Friday morning to hang out with us for the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth. So we have our show Tuesday nights, so we'll have a lot to get to, lots of college basketball talk, I'm sure, in a few days. But until then, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you then. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. See ya.
Yeah.
Step right up, dummies, and listen to the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth with Rodney Newpol and Tim Van Stratton.